This is Shakeh Hajjar. I'm a sports nutrition dietitian with NCSF. I'll be with you for today and next Saturday. I'm just waiting a couple of minutes for everyone to be here, and then we're going to start. Lots of info in a small duration of time, so I'm going to do my best to deliver everything. I'm going to keep the last 5 to 10 minutes for your questions. So keep your questions till the end, please. Seems like everyone is here. So today we're going to be discussing macronutrients and micronutrients. We're going to discuss carbohydrates, proteins, fats. We're going to talk a little bit about vitamins, minerals, and the importance of water and hydration, especially for athletes. And then we're going to go through nutrition fact labels and how to read them in order for us to make the right choices whenever we are buying products from the supermarket. Definitely, we're not going to go into a lot of details. More details will be covered in the sports nutrition course. For those of you who are interested, please keep on checking the page of NCSF, and once we launch it, you can join us and take it with me. So I'm going to start since everyone is almost here. Inshallah. Okay, guys, our first chapter for today will be covering few definitions, and then we're going to go through macronutrients. So for those of you who do not know, usually a calorie is the unit of energy provided by food. It's the amount of energy needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree. Usually it's the unit that we use in order to quantify, if you want, the energy provided by each and every single food item that we consume. Two more definitions: coefficients of digestibility. What does it mean? It means it shows the difference, if you want, between the amount of food that is actually digested and eaten versus the amount of food that is absorbed and used by the body as a source of energy. That's why we focus on having plant-based food, high in fiber and high in lean protein, because they have high coefficients of digestibility. And the last terminology that we want to define for today is the thermic effects of food, which is actually the amount of energy needed by our body to process, digest, and store this food for him to use it later on as a source of energy whenever needed. So whenever we are consuming carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, which are the 3 essential macronutrients, we are taking this chemical energy from our food. Our metabolism is use it as ATP for us when we are exercising, to use it by our muscles and our body cells. And then the chemical waste, we get rid of it as heat via water, through respiration, and carbon dioxide. I'm admitting someone right now. Now, whenever we are talking about energy, we need to differentiate energy-yielding nutrients from non-energy-yielding nutrients. Just as the name defines, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, in Arabic, nashawiyat as carbohydrates, protein, proteinate, والدهون. These 3 macronutrients are energy-yielding. They provide energy. And non-energy yielding, vitamins, minerals, and water. They are essential for our body to maintain bodily homeostasis. However, they do not provide calories. They do not provide energy to use by our metabolism once we are exercising or even practicing our daily activities. Now, these macronutrients provide energy in different amounts. All depends on the amount of time they need to be digested. For example, carbohydrates provide 4 calories per gram, and they need 1 hour to be digested. Protein needs 2 hours to be digested, and they also provide 4 calories per gram, and they are essential for recovery. Fats provide 9 calories per gram, and they are essential as a source of energy, because as you know, especially for athletes, when they train, they need high amounts of calories per day. And sometimes we cannot provide these calories from carbohydrates and proteins alone, so we need fat as a source of energy as well, and they are important to rest. And alcohol it's not a nutrient. It's not essential for our body, but however, it provides calories. It provides 7 kilocalories per gram, and it's usually considered a toxin to our muscles. We will discuss this in details in the sports nutrition course for those who are interested in knowing more details. Now, what factors affect our choices? How can we know if we are making the right choices when it comes to carbohydrates, proteins, and fat, and we are taking enough energy from these macronutrients? Basically, food and nutrient timing are important. The food quantity and type, so the quality as well, is important. Variations in nutrient digestion, absorption, and assimilation. As I explained, carbs takes 1 hour to be digested. Minimum fat and protein takes 2, fat takes 4. So whenever my meal has protein, fat, and carbohydrates in the right amounts, I will feel full for a longer period of time. Individual requirements for energy are based on physical factors such as age, sex, and physical activity. The more physically active and the more exercise I do, the higher my energy needs are, and the higher the quantities I need from carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. And other influences are factors as well, such as dietary practices, dietary preferences, and the risk of food allergies. In case someone suffers from a certain type of food allergy that prohibits him to consume a certain type of macronutrient, it will affect definitely the amount of energy he is consuming. Now, in order for us to know how much do we need from every single nutrient, the American Dietetic Association has set dietary reference intake values. And these values are our reference in order for us to differentiate what is enough, what is not enough, and what is the maximum amount that we need to take. We have EAR, estimated average requirements. We have the RDAs, recommended dietary allowances. We have the AIs and the UL, so adequate intake and upper limit. The EARs usually are the intake estimated to meet 50% of needs. So if I am consuming the EAR of a certain nutrient, this means that I'm consuming only the 50% of how much I need from this nutrient. However, if I'm consuming the RDAs, this means that I'm consuming what is actually required, 97 to 98% sufficient to meet healthy people in a certain group. The AI are the recommended average daily intake in a certain group. So if I'm consuming the AI, it's as well enough, but I need to pay attention to the upper limit, which is the highest intake, which poses no risk of adverse effects or toxicity, which means that in case I want to consume, let's say, a certain type of nutrient that is very healthy, too much is sometimes toxic, and I cannot exceed a certain level and a certain threshold. So I need to know what's the upper limit from each and every macronutrient and even micronutrient that I'm consuming. Usually, the regular population is not aware of the ARs and RDAs of nutrients. This is where specified nutrition or dietitians actually that will need to know them in order for you to be aware of them, and she will help you in order to classify your meals based on the amount of each and every food group. Now we're going to start by carbohydrates. For those of you who are not familiar of carbohydrates, in Arabic, they are divided into 3 groups. Monosaccharides, which are the simplest form and easiest to digest. Fructose, which is the sugar available in fruits. Galactose and glucose, which is the sugar table, basically. Disaccharides, made from 2 sugar molecules. A little bit more complex, 2 monosaccharides will form a disaccharide. Lactose, maltose, sucrose, and trehalose. And we have the polysaccharides, which are basically the complex form of carbohydrates, cellulose, glycogen, and starch. Glycogen is the form of carbohydrates, the form of storage of carbohydrates in muscles and in liver. And the starch, basically, it's the form of storage in plants, so which we focus on consuming because they are high in fiber that we will go through right now. Now, when we talk fiber, we talk what's important and what is essential for our digestive health, disease prevention, and even weight management. Why? They provide less than 2 calories per grams. Their RDAs are 20 to 35 grams, which is very easy to meet. And we have to differentiate between 2 groups, soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. Usually soluble are consumed by people who suffer from diarrhea because they attract water and they form a certain type of gel, which slows the digestion and slows our bowel movement to treat this diarrhea, and even slows the release of energy from the food that we are consuming, which will help us regulate our blood glucose, which is beneficial for weight loss at the end of the day, versus the insoluble fiber, which are the type of fiber consumed with people suffering from constipation, because they create a bulk. And this bulk will help fastening our bowel movement and regulate our bowel movement and reduce our constipation. Usually soluble fiber are available in beans, in seeds, and in oats. Insoluble are available in whole wheat and whole food, such as bread or pasta or rice high in fiber, and vegetables and the fruits skin especially. So fiber adds bulk. Therefore, they increase satiety. I will feel fuller in less quantity of food, and therefore I will take less amount of calories, and I will. It's going to be easier for me to meet my weight loss goals. It decreases the glycemic index that we're going to define in a bit, which slows the absorption of food and will make me regulate my blood glucose in a better way. It increases intestinal mobilization, increases the thermic effect of food, which helps my body to use more energy in order to digest and to absorb the food that I'm consuming. And it helps reducing the absorption of cholesterol and triglycerides, because it blocks their absorption. It binds to cholesterol, and since it's not digested, we get rid of this cholesterol and triglycerides via feces. Now, we cannot discuss carbohydrates without talking sugar. Sugar is a form of carbs, but however, this sugar is called metabolic disruptor. The average American consumes 25% of total amount of calories from sugar. What the recommendations should not exceed 10% of the total amount of calories. It's estimated that the average American consumes per year 45 kilograms of sugar, which is added sugar or even the hidden sugar available in the food that we consume. And that much sugar is harmless to us. It's associated usually with obesity, with metabolic diseases, with systemic inflammation, diabetes, high cortisol level, hyperlipidemia, and arthritis, which will lead to cardiovascular disease on the long run, and several metabolic disorders that are unhealthy and harmful, especially for athletes. An example of hidden calories, a very, very easy and simple example, is the hidden sugar available in sodas. Imagine one can of soda that we are consuming every day, which is the regular one, not the diet one. It has 39 grams of sugar per can. So if we're consuming one can every single day for a year, we are consuming for about 14 kilograms of sugar per year, only from sodas. So imagine the amount of sugar and hidden calories that we are consuming from other types of food if we do not check them. I'm not saying that the diet ones are much healthier. It's true that they have artificial sweeteners as well, but at least when it comes to sugar, they do not provide sugar, and they are actually 0 calories. Why is sugar that toxic? Whenever I consume sugary carbohydrates, it will cause a raise in my blood sugar. So my glycemia will spike, which will trigger my pancreas to stimulate a hormone called insulin, which have a specific job of sending a message to all my body cells: please use this sugar either as energy or store it for later on use.